Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Henderson with Pressure Washing Marketing Pros. In today's video, I want to talk about why you shouldn't worry about the $99 guy marketing tactic, right? Because when I peruse pressure washing Facebook groups, I consistently see on a weekly basis guys, screenshotting other pressure washing businesses' Facebook ads where it'll show, $99 house washing special, $69 driveway cleaning, right? And they go ahead and they bash those type of companies in that sense, right? And I think that when guys do this, it's derived from a place of scarcity, and it's derived from a place of maybe even fear that this person is going to go ahead and be in competition with you, steal your customers, and take a lot of your market share, right? When that can be further from the truth. Because today what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down brand versus messaging, because that's the best way to describe, a $99 guy marketing, right? And also when I break down brand versus messaging, I'm going to also give you a structure and a template for how you guys want to go ahead and, establish your business in your community, right? And the things that you would want to do in order to build the brand, because obviously, as you guys know, branding, and having that authority is going to be the best long-term for your business, right? So let's go ahead and get started. So branding, what is branding? Branding is the relationship and authority that you have with your customer base. When we think of a big brand, we think of brands like Apple, right? So, like I said, Apple, we know that they're the authority figure when it comes to phones. You Android users, I'm sorry guys, as you guys know, Apple dominates that market share in that sense, right? MacBook, iPhones, all of that. But as you guys know, it takes time to build a brand, which I will get to later on in the video, right? Because like I said, the easiest way to think about that dynamic of the $99 guy marketing tactic is branding versus message, right? And so what is messaging? Messaging is what you communicate to your customer base, right? And so the $99 guy marketing tactic is basically prioritizing their messaging over their brand. And so when you think about examples of messaging, you're gonna think about companies like Groupon, right? With Groupon, you already know what kind of message that is, right? They have coupon basically in their name. So you already know that when you go to a place like Groupon is really not a brand, right? It's really not a brand. It's not something that, of course, people know about it, but why do they know about it? It's because their messaging, right, dominates more than their brand. So when you go on Groupon, you're like, I'm gonna look for a pressure washing business, that has $99 specials, right? And so there's always going to be a sector. The first thing I want to tell you guys, there's always going to be a sector of the market that only goes with the $99 guys, right? There's always going to be a sector of that. Even for marketing companies like myself, there are guys and sectors of the market, right, to where they're only going to go with SEO companies that do $199 SEO, right? They're only going to go, with those type of companies, right? And as you know, that's not the customers that you want to attract in your business anyway. So the first thing is that there's always going to be a sector of the market that only goes for $99, guys, right? And so the thing is that's one reason why you guys should not be worried about that kind of marketing in that sense, because there's always going to be a group, there's always going to be a sector for that. And we know that whenever you prioritize messaging over brand, you're going to be making a lot of sacrifices in that sense, whether it's with your pricing, whether it's with the time, right? And over time, you're not able to get the best equipment, you're not able to build a established team, and these are things that we already know, right? When it comes to the $99 guy, right? Like, oh, he can't afford insurance, he can't afford, the best equipment, all of that kind of stuff. We already know that inherently, right? But what I really want to talk about is, branding over messaging, right? Because as you know, brand takes longer to establish. Your branding takes way longer to establish, right? When Apple first came onto the scene, Apple's been out since like the 70s or 80s, right? And 40 years later, out here in 2023, you see that they're the authority figure. But if you would have talked about them 40 years ago, you would have never really known about them, right? And so, like I said, you don't trust big brands right off of the bat. It takes repeatedly exceeding your mark every single time and getting dominant in your market share, right? When it comes to building that brand. And a lot of guys wonder, how do I do so, right? Well, like I said, branding is built through systems, processes, and strategic marketing in that sense, right? So How is your customer experience, right? Whenever you're delivering your service to are your customers getting a world-class experience, right? Do you have systems in place? You know what I mean? To where you're gonna get the same result every single time you go out to a job in that sense, where there's consistency in that sense. That's one of the reasons why we buy an Apple product, right? Because we know what we're getting. We know the consistency of what we're getting. We're not going to get any kind of phones. That's why when a new player comes onto the market, right, you're kind of hesitant to buy that because you don't know what consistency that they're going to bring. That's why it's important to establish systems and processes in your business to create that consistency within your business. Because like I said, once you're repeatedly hitting the mark and exceeding the mark, right, over time, gradually, that establishes a brand. And yes, branding is not built overnight. And I sometimes get frustrated when I see these guys that have been in the pressure washer industry for 25 years that really don't have to market their business, and they say, oh, digital marketing is a sham, marketing is a sham, just build your brand, right? When at that point they've been doing it for 25 years when nobody else was doing it. They've already really, established themselves, right? In a period of time in pressure washing where there was no digital marketing, there was no other kind of competition, right? So for themselves, like I said, there's going to be different marketing environments or different environments where guys establish their branding without having to do these things in that sense, right? And that's where I think a lot of the disconnect is when it comes to that, right? You'll have guys, like I said, that have been in the industry for 20, 25 years talking about, oh, it's just branding with this, that, and the other, but not telling you how to establish that branding in that sense because they never had to do any marketing. Trust me, I've looked at some of these guys' websites and man, it looks like it's from the 1980s in that sense, right? But the thing is, they don't need to market like that because they've established their brand. But any of you newer guys, any of the guys that have been in the pressure washing industry, in the last 5 years or beyond, you're gonna still have to market yourself to make yourself a very good brand. And some of you guys have already done so, right? Like there's guys that I've interviewed on my podcast, like Patrick Clark, that have really hit the needle, that have been in the game for 15 plus years and have done the digital marketing, have done all of that to create a brand, right? Because like I said, even when it comes to strategic marketing in that sense, the reason why some guys use a $99 marketing tactic is because it's going to go ahead and get you some quick wins. Now, like I said, I'm not one of these guys that bashes it all the way because there's a time and place to be the $99 guy, right? When you first start out and you're trying to get jobs, you're gonna be the $99 guy essentially, right? You haven't established your branding enough yet in order to go ahead and, warrant the price that you may want because you haven't built that trust, right? So you may have to use $99 guy tactics in the very beginning. But where guys mess up at is, like I said, they prioritize the messaging over the branding. So over a long period of time, that is not sustainable. That's why I say with systems and processes. Because once you get those kind of customers from the $99 guy kind of marketing and branding in that sense, what you can go ahead and do on the back end is you may be able to build more trust with those individuals in that sense, right? By keeping constant contact with them in your CRM, by even like going to their house, developing that relationship, or when you do that job, right? You educate that customer so that the next time you go back there, they're not going to be expecting the same result. Or you're like, look, I got better equipment. I have these better things. That's why it's important to get education, especially when it comes to marketing and when it comes to sales, right? Because like I said, you don't want to stay in that place too long. Because like I said, there's always going to be a sector of the market that only goes with the $99 guys. And you don't want that to comprise of majority of your customer base in that sense. You don't want to have a majority of your customer base be $99 oriented type of, customers in that sense, right? So that's where I say systems and processes like that build the brand. You know what I mean? Because brand wins in the long run, right? When you're seeing those guys with that $99 guy marketing tactic, it's like putting gas, it's like making the foundation of building a fire with gasoline. We know that gasoline will ignite a fire really fast, but it can get quite expensive if you do that over a long period of time, right? That's why the longest burning fires are established on what? Wood. But whenever you build a fire upon wood, it takes a little bit of time to, marinate and to get, and for the fire to go ahead and burn like you want it to. But like I said, it's the most sustainable way, to sustain a fire in that sense, and it takes time. So for a lot of you guys that are looking at this $99 guy marketing and you're like, man, this guy's doing this, that, and the other, just know, what are you going to sacrifice? Are you going to sacrifice your branding over your messaging? Or are you going to sacrifice your brand? Or are you going to sacrifice your messaging for your brand? Or are you going to sacrifice your branding, you know what I mean, for the message in that sense, right? So I know that sounded a little bit confusing, so I'll reiterate that again. Are you going to sacrifice your brand for a message, which that example is a $99 guy, right? Or are you going to build a brand, you know, in that sense? Because like I said, branding and messaging kind of have a symbiotic relationship in that sense, right? Because like I said, over time, what you're going to end up doing is your messaging is going to establish your brand, right? They're kind of inherently, you know, tied to each other in that sense, right? And so that's why I said the message and what you're communicating, right? That eventually establishes your brand. And so like I said, when those guys do that $99 guy marketing tactic, it could be, who knows, it could be for a short period of time where they're trying to get quick customers in that sense, and they're trying to, you know, feed their employees or just even feed their own business in that sense, right? But it's not something that's going to be sustainable for you to create a brand. And that's why guys that have those big brands like Apple and all of that have really established themselves, they understand that it's a long game. So overall, what you should take from this video is that you need to have that patience, right? When it comes to building your business, you need to think in a long-term mindset. Everybody always wants something a year later, 2 years later in that sense. But just know that the $99 guy marketing tactic can be something that you can try to employ, right? In order to get quick jobs, in order to, you know, you may have need to buy new equipment or something like that, but just know that it's not sustainable long term in that sense, right? And that your branding will always come first, and that your branding and that just branding overall is what separates businesses that fail 5 years, you know, businesses that continue to churn along forever in that sense, essentially forever, but let's just say 20, 30 plus years, right? So that's one thing that you guys just need to know when it comes to why you shouldn't worry about the $99 guy marketing tactic, right? You know, like I said, you guys want to establish brands. You want to make sure that you establish your brand, and that takes a little bit of time, right? So with that being said, if you need help establishing your brand and you want to go ahead and, you know, at least shore up your branding on the digital side of things, go ahead and, you know, click a free strategy session with us in the description to see if you qualify for a free strategy session, because I see a lot of you guys always talk about, man, Jonathan, you never hit me up, you never do that and the other. Well, maybe you have somebody in our area, you know, maybe, you know, you may not be a good fit, so I don't want to waste your time, right? I don't want to waste your time in that sense, giving you a call and taking up 45 minutes of your time in that sense, right? So yeah, guys, like I said, if you need a free strategy session, go ahead and click the link below in the description to see if you qualify. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you.